What's going on? I'm Jerhiame Walls and I am a testimony. Well, my story is pretty wild. I've been active in the church since I could walk pretty much, from drill team to youth events to playing bongos, the piano and things of that sort. And most people would equate that with like an automatic, rock solid relationship with God, the Creator. But as I've learned through my journey, through my walk, things aren't always what they seem. So through my testimony, I just want to share with you how God actually changed my life and my view on life. My grandfather was pastor of a church, and he actually bought this set of bongos for the sanctuary, and nobody wanted to play them. And I was like, well, it looks fun. And that was my introduction to music and pretty much everything. My freshman year in high school, I love music and stuff like that now, but it wasn't always that way. I was heavily into sports, football, basketball, baseball, all that kind of stuff, track. And I went out for the basketball team my freshman year, made it past the first cuts, but second go around, coach was like, come see me next year. And that kind of hurt me a little bit because it was all I knew. Because at the time I wasn't big on the piano and stuff like that. I was just playing it because they needed me to do it at church pretty much. And I wasn't thinking about music or anything of that sort. And so the summer leading up to my sophomore year, I was like, you know what? I've been playing football my whole life. I'm gonna stick with that. That's what I know. That's what I worked on. So I'm gonna go out and grind it with it. And I tore my knee, absolutely, ripped it. And a doctor said I wouldn't be able to run at full speed ever again. And I don't think there's a sport out there that would, be beneficial with me on the field, on the court, not at full speed. So they kind of derailed the whole sports train for me. And I would say about 3 weeks into my sophomore year, I was on crutches. I had to wear them for like 3 months. I had a big cast on my leg. And this young lady was walking down the hall. She was passing out flyers about a school production. They were doing a musical, Singing in the Rain and stuff like that. And I went to the auditions Friday. They were on a Friday. And nobody told me, I should say, that you had to dance and sing to, qualify for a spot. Well, dancing was definitely out the question for me because I had a cast on my leg. I was on crutches. And so I walked in on my crutches, man. Everybody laughing, joking, talking amongst themselves. And Mr. Williams, the drama teacher, was like, hold up, wait a minute. Well, we see you clearly won't be able to dance for us. So they said, can you just sing? And I was like, cool. So I sang, and slowly the laughs, they turned, into smiles, and those conversations, they transitioned into silence. And in that moment, man, honestly, I think I finally felt something for the first time in my life when it comes to myself. I think I discovered myself on that stage. The energy I felt from the people, the feeling I felt from myself, I didn't feel it on the football field. I didn't feel it when I was playing sports, when I was outside playing with my friends. It was like an entirely different experience of life. And from that moment, man, it clicked and it just changed everything. And I fell in love with music. I fell in love with every piece of music at that point. It had to be the day of the actual play. When I walked on stage and I saw the people out there, and I just felt like, because I had fallen out with God, I'm not gonna lie to you, because I love sports, man. I was very active, love football, man, more than anything. And I was like, well, if I ain't got football, I don't wanna do nothing. And that's how I was living my life. And man, I walked on that stage, and like I said, it was just a whole nother world. And something took over me, I guess I could say that. Something just overtook me, man, and I felt born, if that makes any sense. Yeah, I felt like I was actually here for the first time, like I was actually experiencing life when I was up there. I was just given my lesson through that process. I learned that, we have control, but we're not in control ultimately. And, for example, you can go through and make this decision, that decision, this decision throughout your life and have this outcome, and this outcome. But at the end of the day, you're gonna fall into what God has planned for you regardless. And so that was another thing I learned from all of my experiences, all of my crushing, my breaking, and all of that, is that you shouldn't really dwell in the past, because it's owned by death, like the past 5 minutes you spent listening to this, can't get them back, they're dead, I honestly believe that music is one of God's favorite languages, whether it be church music, love songs, this or that. He speaks through music in many ways, whether it be instruments, the feeling you get when you hear string sound, a run that gets to you, or just simply somebody's vocals. They actually affect you and you feel that internally. But my side of it that made me have an encounter with God was actually doing the work and the process, man. I know who I am and how strong I was and stuff like that. And it was just times where I was like, no, I can't do this, about to give up. And then something would happen. Like, it was like, oh, well, wait, what about this? Like God will open this door and then this door get open. And it's like, it's the weirdest thing to explain, because like, if you're not in it, it's hard to get it. But just like I said, just when you about to just call it quits, like the craziest things that happen. And that was pretty much my testimony to music. It's crazy. I find a lot of comfort in Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans, and I think we all can, honestly, because at times life can be a little unsetting. And it could throw you off, knock you off, but you do have to remember, as I said earlier, we have control, but we're not in control. And that kind of ties back to I know the plans for you. And for my life to be in the hands of someone other than myself, initially was a scary thought, and I didn't like it. I was like, well, why do I have to do this if, this is already going to happen, and stuff like that. But actually living and going through the mud and stuff like that, it humbles you and it sits you down and it makes you actually sit, think, and listen. Like actually listen and see what's actually going on. And if I guarantee you, anybody can go back to day one of your life and there were signs and things pointing you to where you are right now. Maybe you didn't notice it in the time because of your wants and desires didn't line up with where you ultimately were headed. And I think definitely Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans, is something I hold on to even to this day.